rotting driftwood on the foreign shores, spilling out into the ocean floor, and the memories all you've left without a trace. Paralyzed with the thoughts receding, current sweeps you with the silent bleeding through the heart into the darkest place. Well, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. You see the ground as it bleeds in the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. All the secrets that you're holding, all the memories you hide, all the frail thoughts that echo in the corners of your mind, they won't even last a moment. They will soon be swept away when the ocean takes you in its arms and carries you away. You carry all your burdens on the cross around your neck. You take whatever's left that you could salvage from the wreck, and the hard past will follow you like a lost dog on the beach, nipping at your trail till you've drifted out of reach. Yeah, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. See the ground as it bleeds to the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. In the broken line horizon, in the castles made of sand, you tried to hold it in your hands, you tried to understand it. The ocean asks the questions, and it holds the answers too. It dissolves away the lies about the things you thought you knew.
Hello, my friends. 'Tis I, Dame Armiger Ranya. My heart and my sword are yours. And the dog is getting into things. Hey! Oh, my dude. Okay. Always the animals in the household, cramping my style. Anyway, right. I have another intro to do. Right. And 'tis I, Adolath Karakai II, bastard son of a real bastard. Your hearts are mine. Right. Some little household scuff there. Welcome to yet another stream of Stories from Soul the Gun Dog here on YouTube, youtube.com/at or Ranya, whatever the URL is, you know, the place you're at, watching the thing. Pets are always protagonists. The real stars of the show. Oh, autosave, quick save. Okay. Like, for a second I was looking at these little buckets for saved games, and I thought, 1 through 9, the ace and the queen? No. Save blocks 1 through 9, then autosaves and quick saves. Alright, we are on chapter 7. We have just returned from a dangerous extravehicular excursion proceeding from our craft, the JFS Gundog, to investigate the derelict drifting hulk of the JFS O'Brien. We discovered, while poking about there, that the O'Brien had taken on a mysterious piece of cargo, an unknown artifact or object that they found drifting in space. As we explored the ship, we discovered there were no survivors, although it sounded like there was a survivor in the hangar of the O'Brien. I went around in circles for so long trying to find a way to safely approach this possible member of the crew hiding out in the hangar. Found no possible way to get in there other than simply cracking open the door and walking in. To my great surprise, we discovered this thing, which you can not see very clearly in the current image, but it is a highly advanced mech, some kind of craft or war machine that, as soon as we opened that hangar door, immediately began carving up the ship, trying to kill our protagonist with these highly devastating laser blasts from its forward cannon. We escaped in our own mech, one of the, I think they're called Juno class armored frames, and after an extended dogfight in which our weaponry was completely incapable of damaging this thing through its super armor, we used this sort of non-lethal restraining foam to immobilize it instead. And indeed, Runicorn, yes, we have taken it aboard the ship, and yeah, now we're gonna be looking at it and trying to figure out what the heck it is, and hopefully it doesn't break free and destroy the Gundog in turn. You know, when I first saw this screen come up, I thought that we had embarked on a very different kind of visual novel all of a sudden. Yeah, you played one of those back in the day, a very, sort of lewd space opera thing of a pub. I wasn't too impressed with it. It had a lot of non-con. Unfortunately, a feature of far too many eroge. But yeah, this is where we are. Dr. Rosarium had done his best for the neck injury you'd acquired during Hansen's less-than-textbook landing, but the captain had been insistent that her sole security officer return to duty immediately. As a result, after a cursory once over, the doctor had given you an anti-inflammatory injection on one side of your neck and an injection of painkillers on the other before sending you on your way. I mean, seems reasonable, depending on how bad the injury was. If I guess it wasn't severe enough to merit, immobilization with a neck brace, huh? This had left your neck numb and you with the vague sensation that your head could become detached at any moment, but at least you were up and about. Surveying the hangar, you know you should be thankful for this miracle. Both Hansen's Juno and the craft it had been fighting had entered the hangar at full thrust. If Dalton hadn't thought quickly and activated every single piece of arrestor gear available, the two machines would have torn straight through into the belly of the Gundog. On top of that, they'd slammed into the storage container that held the tank he'd been keeping his experimental high-density foam in, causing it to rupture and coat the attacker in the substance and adhere it to the hangar floor. Oh wow, yeah, that is some serious Deus Ex Machina level serendipity. Oh, now you can put me on the main screen. I was hanging out on a secondary monitor earlier, and now I am front and center. Main screen turn on. Normal view. With the machine stuck in place, it didn't take long for the Juno's engines to burn out as it pushed against the immovable object. You make a mental note to give Dalton your thanks later. Not only had the rounds loaded with the substance worked perfectly, it had saved you, Hansen, and possibly the entire ship. What this did mean, though, was that the mysterious assailant which had torn the O'Brien to pieces, and nearly done the same to the Gundog, was stuck, irremovably for the time being, right in the middle of the hangar. It had shown no activity since it went dead just outside the Gundog, but having one of those eye-like cameras exposed didn't leave you... Is this craft secured, Lieutenant? Oh, yes, ma'am. To be honest, Cadet Grange's foam has done most of the work for us. With the amount of that stuff it's covered with, I don't see it making a move anytime soon. Even the tethers we used aren't really necessary. When we get back to Europa Colony, it'll probably be easier to remove the entire hangar block to get to this thing, rather than carve it out. Is that so? Yes, ma'am. You wait for a moment as the captain allows your response to her rhetorical question to hang in the air. As far as capturing enemy technology goes, this could have certainly gone more smoothly. A bolt of anger shoots through your body. As if you have any right to criticize things going badly. You immediately suppress this reaction as the captain turns back towards you. Regardless, you've all done good work today. Lieutenant Ranya, Cadet Grange. Oh, ma'am, yes, thank you. Dalton, who'd been lurking at your side like a nervous shadow the entire time, squeaks, the unexpected compliment taking him entirely by surprise. I mean, that is, if the container hadn't been in that area, then we wouldn't have lost so much hangar space, and I'm sorry that... You swiftly but gently elbow the cadet in his side. Which is, thank you, ma'am. Very good, cadet. Well then. The captain once again leaves the sentence to trail off half-formed. Whereas this manner of speech had previously left you disconcerted, with its indication that there was something the captain was holding back, you'd found yourself no longer bothered by it. And now for studying the machine. Your Lancer character would love it. That's right, you are a mechanic, yes? Whether this was because you were used to it, or simply too tired to be perturbed, was a matter you hadn't quite decided on. Dalton, on the other hand, was still clearly terrified by the concept of being in such close proximity to the captain, to the point where his nervousness was palpable. If it wasn't for the rustling of his jumpsuit caused by his nervous fidgeting, you felt there was a good chance you'd be able to hear his heartbeat racing. As the chief... As the chief... I've finished my assessment of the craft, Captain. Ah! With an amount of grace that surprises you, the chief, having appeared from underneath the catwalk, grabs onto the handrail and effortlessly redirects her momentum, planting her feet firmly on the walkway you're all stood on. Thank you, Chief Cathays. And your assessment? Hard to say. Never seen anything like it. General structure is totally different from the humanoid construction you'd see on an AF. Whatever materials this thing's made of don't line up with what we see on Martian or Terran machines. Even the samples of that titanium they make on Lunar didn't have the kind of durability this thing showed. Based on the combat data from Kree's AF, even that had been torn apart. Plus no indication of a traditional drive system, which... Your security assessment, Chief Cathays. You stiffen as a wave of realization hits you, causing a painful twinge in your neck. As soon as you'd got out of the sickbay, the captain had ordered you to secure the craft. In your current state, still running on leftover adrenaline and recently dosed up on medication, you'd followed that order to the letter, completely forgetting about assessing any potential risks. Huh? Right, yes, Captain. There's no signs to indicate that this craft is active anymore. No measurable electronic activity. No readings to suggest an active reactor. Looks like the whole thing has been totally shut down. The only reading that showed anything was a boson count. It's surrounded by a massive amount of residual distortion. No idea why, though. You'd need a whole engine to put out the amount of I'm registering around it. As far as I can tell, Captain, whatever this thing might be, it's not doing anything anytime soon. I see. And the pilot? If there's anyone in there, they aren't getting out. I've checked over all the visible portions of its structure, and there's no trace of a cockpit hatch or entry panel. With how strong Cadet Grange's compound is, there's no way they'd be able to break through. You must have gone pretty heavy on the cyanoacrylates, huh, Cadet? The chief asks with a wink. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, It's a good thing, Cadet. If you hadn't, this thing might have been able to tear its way out and continue its rampage around the ship's insides. Best way I can put it, Captain, I hope they've got enough oxygen and emergency rations in there to last them until we get back to Europa, because we aren't getting them out. And you, Lieutenant? You'd hoped that the chief's explanation would suffice, but the captain turned her attention to you expectantly. Agree with the chief or try to add something else? I mean, I do just agree with the chief, but I'm kind of curious what our character is going to throw in if we decide to add something else. Yeah, I agree with you, Runicorn. I don't think there is anyone in there either. It's either some extremely high-speed communication remote control device, or it's robotic in nature, yeah. Well, I think that in addition to what the chief said, that, the reaction speed isn't human, that thing is self-piloting if someone is inside, yeah. Yes, Lieutenant? You don't know why you tried to add something to the chief's statement. The more you tried to think, the more you realized just how exhausted you were, mentally and physically. You turn to look at the crashed craft and catch a glint as the hangar lights reflect off of one of the eye-like camera lenses. Totally different to anything you'd seen on an armored frame. I don't think we can count on this thing playing by our rules. Oh? Whatever this thing is, it doesn't look like any AF I've ever seen. It doesn't behave like one either. The amount of punishment it stood up to out there, I'm not sure we had anything to do with it going offline. And if that's just the machine, I wouldn't make any assumptions about its pilot either. You look back to the captain just as she turns her attention to the machine. The captain takes a moment to move to the railings and places her hands onto them, resting what little of her weight remains in this low gravity on the support, while also drumming her fingers against them. As you watch Captain Bartermuse, you see the brief glimmer of a spark in her eyes. This slight change, transforming her in front of you from the consistently disinterested captain you know to a canny, analytical version of herself. She turns back to face you, pivoting on the one hand she keeps on the railing. In that case, our priority is getting this back to Europa Colony where it can be investigated properly. The less time we have this on board, the less risk it poses to us. Chief Cathays, I want those engines online now. Cadet Grange, I want Ensign Kree's Juno fully operational and combat ready. If this decides to reactivate, I want to be ready for it. Lieutenant Ranya, I want you on active patrol until Ensign Kreese is out of sickbay. You, Rumney, and Kreese will be carrying out patrols around the clock until we dock at Europa. This thing has shown itself to be full of surprises. Just because we can't see a way for the pilot to get out, doesn't mean there isn't one. Carry out a normal patrol and then report back to me. I'll be in my quarters writing this up. Understood? The three of you snap to attention and throw a salute in perfect synchronization. Even the chronically fidgety Dalton maintains a perfectly still, professional countenance. Oh, funny thing. When I was getting ready for the stream, I brought up the promo image for the gun dog to add as a thumbnail for the stream. I had been using it the last couple of streams, but I decided to also add my snapshot of my model onto it, and I noticed. Let me just add it to the scene here so you can look at what I mean. Image. Browse. It was in my downloads, I think. Oh, where did I put it? On? Ba. Okay. See, I'll see this. This is the, cast image that's the, used for the Steam store page and so on and so forth. Everybody looks just serious as fuck, right? Not a smile on anyone's face. Moreover, even Dalton, the complete putz of a cadet engineer, looks grim and dangerous. He's the one just to the right of the Stories from Sol logo there. I don't think we're ever going to see this character looking that composed and cool and badass. It's just not... That's just not what his character's like. So I found that very funny. The rest of the folks, I think it makes sense enough, but... it's just a little too bad that we've got the masculine version of the protagonist. I wish we had a version with the lady lieutenant, but... Anyway, I just thought that was very funny. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, this guy? That's that guy? No way. Very good. Dismissed. With a shove against the railing, the captain launches herself towards the hangar entrance, and the three of you drop your stiff postures as soon as she's out of sight. Hell of a day, huh, Lieutenant? You roll your shoulders once again, trying to get rid of the stiffness that's working its way back into your neck. That's putting it mildly. As you think back over the day, it feels like it's been a week long with everything that has happened. It felt like you hadn't slept for that long either. You're not wrong, Chief. As you look back to the enemy craft, you can't help but feel like its exposed camera lens is pointing straight at you. Well, it literally is. So I don't know what the feeling is about. Feeling like it's actually active and watching me? Writers for PM Studios. Hire me to be your line editor. Swallowing nervously, you turn away. The unwavering mechanical glare fills you with a sense of dread. So what do you think? Is it really out of action? Like I told the captain, as far as I can tell, this thing isn't going anywhere soon. You're not imagining the characters standing model for the photo and the struggles from different sources they might have had, everyone being there, everyone looking serious, etc. Oh, you are now... Okay, that's what confused me. You are now imagining... Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, maybe this is like some kind of a... Yeah, it does kind of look like almost a... like a recruitment poster for the JDF or something. It's like, join the JDF! Join this crew of badasses! Except they wouldn't really have put this crew on a promotional poster anyway, because we're supposed to be a gang of misfits that nobody wanted. Still, doesn't mean that I want to hang around with it glued to the inside of a hangar. The sooner we get it back to Europa, the better. And to do that, I need to get the Gundog's engines up and running. So I'm gonna head back to the engine room. We've all got jobs to do, no time to stand around chatting if we want to get our unexpected passenger back to Europa Colony. Cadet! I do so love that animation. Chief? Main thruster module on Kree's Juno is completely fried. Don't bother trying to salvage it. It's gonna need a wholesale replacement, understood? Yes, Chief! Alright then, both of you, get to it. With that, the Chief launches herself off a nearby railing and towards the hangar entrance. Much like you had with the captain earlier, you watch as she disappears, relaxing slightly once she's out of sight. As you look around your surroundings, you see that Dalton has already made its way towards Hansen's Juno, leaving you alone. You kick off the catwalk and begin to gently drift towards the hangar exit, taking one last look back at the hangar before you leave. The once unstoppable machine now sits totally still in the center of the hangar. Despite being encased in the rock-hard compound, the misgivings you felt about how out of commission it really was were hard to ignore. You had never seen or even heard of a machine with the capabilities it had demonstrated, and although the Chief had assured the captain it wasn't going anywhere, you weren't so certain. Beyond that, the thought of the pilot concerned you the most. What kind of person did it take to pilot something like this? Your attention lingers on it for a little longer, before you turn your attention back towards the exit. Time for patrol then. You look at the pilot sledge. You grip the railing and lean forward, shifting yourself into a position where you can view as much of the machine and the surrounding mass of rock-solid foam as possible. Just like the Chief said, no signs of activity, no signs of life. Your grip tightens as you remember your encounter with it. Even though you'd not been the one piloting, being there whilst Hansen had fought tooth and nail just to stay alive had shown you how dangerous it was, how powerful. If it hadn't been for Dalton's foam rounds, how much longer would Hansen have been able to hold out? The fact that it had been almost unstoppable until suddenly deactivating had started to nag at you as you stared at it. Had it really been stopped, or was there something else going on? Okay. I got a tiny spoiler by looking at the achievements for the game. I think whenever we get the chance, we should be going into the mess hall to pick up some chocolate for our girlfriend. Before you even head into the mess hall, the aroma of machine-made coffee and pancakes wafts down the four-side thoroughfare, and your stomach growls audibly. You hadn't realized how hungry you were until now, but with the scent of rich food in the air, your body begins to let you know in no uncertain terms that you are ravenous. You would absolutely try to talk to the machine every time you find yourself in the hangar, and suddenly find yourself in the hangar more commonly. Relationship level with mysterious mech increased to 1. As you step inside, you see Ensign Rumney leaning back lazily in their chair, slowly picking their way through a stack of syrup-covered pancakes, fork in one hand, cup of coffee in the other. They acknowledge you by looking over to the doorway and raising their cup of coffee slightly before returning to their meal. Before you can say anything, your stomach growls loudly again. A smirk appears on the pilot's face briefly, but is quickly dismissed as they go to take another mouthful of pancake. The correct romance option, weird death robot. As they carry on eating, you decide to leave them to it for the time being, and head into the room to take a look at the available options. Haru's coffee. They take it pitch black and so thick you could stand a spoon up in it. I thought it was gross when they put their cigarette out in it, but as it turns out, it was pretty gross to begin with. Approaching the machine, you look over the list of menu options. You'd been surprised when you first got on board that the choice was just as extensive as the machines on much larger ships you've been stationed on. The problem with this was that all the choice made it difficult to decide on what you wanted to eat. You spend a minute or two going back and forth over the various menu options before narrowing it down to hamburger, tacos, or pancakes. The pancakes did sound pretty good, but I could be persuaded to any of these. You got a favorite, chat? We don't get any details on what kind of hamburger unicorn. This is all the information I've got. Same as you have. I feel like we shouldn't get the pancakes just to thumb our noses at Haru over there. But they smelled so good out in the hallway. I don't think there's any wrong choice here, right, Akron? I'm just having fun. Let's find out what kind of hamburger by choosing the hamburger then. You press a button to select a classic hamburger and follow up by choosing some specifics. Oh, we do get some customization. Pickles or no pickles? I am a pro-pickle puma myself. I approve of this choice. Adelath, they're not entire cigar-shaped pickles on a hamburger. They're usually sliced. Ah, more's the pity. After you input the final option, you hear the machine roar into life as it produces a cacophony of muffled noises. After a few minutes, the hatch opens and a surprisingly well-presented hamburger slides out on a plate. Once you remove it from the machine, you head to the table and sit down away from Haru, assuming that their lack of conversation is a choice they'd like you to respect. Your stomach is almost roaring as you take your first bite. Despite having come from a machine and being made from entirely synthetic ingredients, the bun is fluffy and the meat of the burger is juicy. You want to now eat at the best chain restaurant. Burgers from Hans im Glück are just too good. Ah, so that would be one that I don't have access to here in the States, that's for sure. You and Haru continue your meal together in silence. Due to your hunger, you wolf down your burger in the time it takes Haru to pick their way through half a pancake. Satisfied, you stand up and return the plate to the meal vendor. A feeling of contentedness spreads through you, taking the edge off your exhaustion. You look at the vending machine and consider the available snacks. The thought of a chocolate bar seems appealing, and you take your ID card out of your pocket, slide it into the machine's card slot, and key in your selection. One of the coils spins slowly, and your bar is eventually ejected, landing at the bottom of the machine near the access hatch. I love that we have this, super high-tech, almost replicator-style hot meal machine, and the vending machines, other than the use of the, ID card to access them, are exactly like vending machines from, the 90s even around here. You got a silent voice. Nice, I'll save this for later. Silent voice. A bar of aerated milk chocolate. Great on its own or dunked in a hot drink. It's also one of the favorites of a particular head of operations. Okay. Fire control is also at the end of this corridor. They're in 4 countries: Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and Singapore. Oh, alright, yeah. You'd been ordered to carry out a security patrol by the captain, and with you being up to speed with what was going on in the hangar, that meant fire control was your next stop. As you step into the small room, you're surprised as Dylan turns around immediately. Hey, Lieutenant. They sent you to check up on me. Just a standard security patrol, Dees. How's it all going? The normally placid warrant officer rolls his eyes, theatrically slumping back in his chair and gesturing to the monitors all around him with visible frustration. Great. I've been ordered to remain on high alert, but the issue with the long-range targeting systems is even worse than before, so I can't actually do anything unless we've got a target in visual range. Which means I've got to keep looking at every one of these screens all the time and nothing else. So, living the dream. What's wrong with the long-range system? As if I know. Same thing as before, just worse. That's how the enemy got the drop on us. We didn't know they were there until they were right on top of us. Otherwise, I might have been able to get some shots in from the main guns. I'd have been able to do something against that machine at least. Not like the point defense cannons were any use. I swear I almost got it so many times, but it moved faster than the cannons could, and even when I tried to lead the target, it was too erratic to figure out where it'd be. With a groan, Dylan slides further into his chair and kicks off the floor, sending the chairs spinning in a slow circle. As he rotates, he glances over all the monitors before turning back to you. But yeah, anyway, the long-range targeting system is almost completely useless right now. It's been fuzzy since this morning, but It got way worse when that thing showed up. I've tried to ask the chief to take a look at it, but she's still busy with the engines and everything else going on, so like... He looks over the top of his glasses at you and shrugs. It is what it is, you know? Dylan makes another rotation, this time gently brushing his hand over the targeting system controls, shifting their focus slightly as he rotates past them. So what's up with you, Lieutenant? Got pretty gnarly out there, huh? You alright? You take a moment to rub your neck. You'd noticed it was beginning to stiffen and the pain was creeping in around the edges. Hopefully that whatever the doctor had given you would hold out for a few more hours. You put some of the burgers in the shot of food channel. They actually look like the promotional images. Ooh. Yeah, that's impressive. You know, food photography usually punches things up more than a bit. So it's cool that they really nailed the presentation. Yeah, not too bad, Deez. Thanks for asking. That's good, yeah. I could see Hansen's Juno through the cameras. Pulled some pretty sick maneuvers. You must have been really hanging on in there. You think back to how you've been thrown around the cockpit by some of Hansen's stunts. The experience of clinging on to the temporary passenger seat wasn't one you wanted to relive soon. You're not wrong. Things got pretty wild out there. I'm just glad we made it back in one piece. Yeah, I'm, sorry I couldn't do more to help you out with the Gundog's weapons, you know? Just everything was way too slow. You smile and wave your hand subtly to dismiss Dylan's concern. Don't worry about it, Deez. We couldn't do much against it either. I don't think there's anything on board that could have taken that thing out. Yeah, you might be right, huh? A silence hangs between the two of you, and you're about to make your excuse to leave, before Dylan leans forward in his seat, looking you dead in the eyes and speaks in a hushed tone. So, like, what is that thing, Lieutenant? What happened on the O'Brien? Is it Martian? Terran? What's the deal? Have we got to the pilot yet? You place your hands on your hips before shifting your weight onto one foot and crossing your arms instead. Having a Greek special at the German burger restaurant. Okay. But it looks tasty, huh? Whilst exhaling deeply, you break the eye contact and look around the room at the monitors, finally looking back to Dylan, who sits there staring at you expectantly. Funny thing, long ago, when I used to do a bunch of like space opera science fiction writing myself, I had a kind of dynasty of storied pilots and commanders with the last name Dylan. I don't know why I got so hooked on that name. I don't know. Thought it was funny or cool. The Hercules Burger! While drinking the Virgin Aphrodite mocktail. Cute. Honestly, Deez, I've got no idea. All I know is that it blew the O'Brien to pieces and then came for the Gundog, and nothing we've got seems to have been able to scratch it. Dylan lets out a loud sigh, making his frustration obvious. Ugh, great. Okay. Well, thanks anyway, ma'am. Guess I better get back to these monitors in case another one comes looking for its friend. Sure, I'll check back in on you later, Deez. With that, Dylan turns back to the walls of monitors, and you watch him begin to idly prod the controls, adjusting and shifting views on some screens and altering the focus on others. And I could not do a job like that very easily. I would need so much coffee. At least, yeah, I don't think I could do it without being on, maybe, Adderall or something. Something to relieve my ADHD, because, God, that seems like it would be boring and put you to sleep. I would constantly be going off task. Not that I'm that much better with my actual job, but at least it's not just looking at screens waiting for something to happen. Actually, I don't really need to be in the crew quarters, do I? I could maybe see if Cassie's around. After you input the passcode to Cassie's quarters into the terminal outside of her quarters, the door slides open smoothly and you step inside. You quickly glance around the room and see that Cassie isn't here, meaning she's likely still in the sickbay. What is this thing? Oh, can't look at it. Just a jacket, I guess. I do like the way our character looks. But god, yeah, Cassie there. She looks like she's maybe 16. At most. My brain was not operating correctly when I first saw these signs, this JFS, BRDG, SBAY. I was like, trying to parse it, but no, all it is, JFS is the fleet we're in. BRDG, that elevator goes to the bridge. SBAY, that elevator goes to the sickbay. Not that difficult, Ranya. Even before the elevator's doors open, your hand is raised to preempt the harsh brightness of the sickbay's lighting. The powerful aroma of disinfectant wafts into the elevator as the doors slide open and the light shines brightly through the widening gap. Accustomed to both these features of the sickbay, you're no longer bothered by them. As always, everything appears in order, although you quickly notice that the doctor isn't at his desk. Looking over to the left of the room, you see a light illuminated above the doorway leading to the surgery wing, with its large gallery window having taken on a frosted effect, obscuring the view of the inside beyond some vague shapes. The doctor had been able to patch you up pretty quickly, leaving Hansen to wait for the necessary procedure that now seemed to be underway. Looking back to the beds, you see Cassie tossing and turning uncomfortably. She'd been fast asleep when you and Hansen were brought in, to the point where you wondered if she'd been sedated. But now she was fidgeting and groaning, appearing in genuine discomfort. Cassie! Cassie! Is everything alright? That wall is basically asking for a new paint job as a prank for the crew. Back up at the elevators? You lay your hand on her shoulder and take her hand in yours. Hey, Cassie. Can you hear me? What's wrong? Oh, it's you, Callie. How was the mission? Did everything... Yeah! As she lets out a scream, Cassie yanks her hand away from yours, bringing it up to her head and using it alongside her free hand as if trying to hold her head together. Ah! Completely overtaken by pain, Cassie thrashes around on the bed. It's all you can do to stop her from throwing herself off of it. Hey, Cassie, it's alright, it's gonna be okay. You look around in a panic, unsure of what to do. Your first instinct is to get Dr. Rosarium, but as he's in the middle of a surgical procedure, you don't think he'd be able to drop everything just to come to Cassie. Cassie, did the doctor leave you anything? Any instructions? Any tablets? Yeah! Cassie, come on, anything! Pills on the counter! Ah! Without a moment's hesitation, you dash over to the countertop, where you can see a half-spent blister of tablets atop a box of more of the same. You grab a nearby small glass, fill it with water from the hand-washing station, and then take it and the tablets over to Cassie. Hey, Cassie, wake up and take these, come on. You slide your arm under Cassie's back and gently bring her to an upright position, keeping your arm in place to prop her up. Hey, honey, These are the tablets you mentioned, right? Cassandra, still in a daze, blinks at the glass of water and pills you hold up to her, slowly reaching out to take the glass and then some tablets. Oh, yeah. Doctor said they'd help the headaches. Dreamily, she places 2 in her mouth and you help her with the glass of water. She drains it, and after you take it off her, you lower her back down onto the bed. Thanks, sweetie. You remain standing over Cassandra for a few minutes, but it looks like she's fallen into the same heavy slumber that she was in when you were brought down here earlier. You squeeze her hand before turning to leave, but before you can step away, you feel a gentle grip on your wrist. Hey, I'm back in a bit. I want to hear about your bed. Before she can finish the sentence, Cassie slumps back onto the bed, releasing you. Sure thing, Cassie. Could I, set the chocolate next to her? No. You step off the elevator and enter the bridge to the sound of a trill beeping coming from a control panel. Stood over the panel, typing hurriedly on the keyboard, is Vanessa. She looks over to you at the start before turning back to the keyboard and quickly entering more commands. After a few seconds of typing, she aggressively hits the enter key, which silences the beeping, and turns quickly to you, looking slightly flushed. And what do you want, Lieutenant Ranya? At this point, you no longer have the energy to mask your exasperation, and let out a sigh as you pinch the bridge of your nose between your thumb and forefinger. I'm just carrying out a standard patrol, Lieutenant Lord, making sure everything's in order following the battle. Is everything okay up here? You leaned slightly to try to see what was being displayed on the screen above the panel which Vanessa had just been using, but was now stood in front of. Stepping sideways to block your view, Vanessa reaches back to the keyboard without turning around, and enters a quick series of button presses that shift the display to something else. Of course you're on patrol. I suspected you wouldn't be here to give your post-mission report like you're supposed to. It'd be too much to expect the Gundog's hero, the dashing Lieutenant Ranya, to actually follow protocol for once. But then again, without how I had to remind you of procedure when the power went out, I suppose you might not be willfully ignorant of how you're supposed to act. It could be that you're just plain ignorant instead. You feel a familiar rising tide of anger within you, a feeling that for most of your career had been limited to encounters with Hansen, but was now becoming much more common with every conversation you had with Vanessa. You do know you're supposed to report to the mission overseer immediately after you're dismissed from sickbay for debriefing, right? Any remaining desire you had to check in on the bridge and Lieutenant Lord was swiftly leaving you. Yes, Lieutenant, thank you. I am aware of the procedure, but I'm under direct orders from the captain to begin a constant patrol. Besides, I would have assumed that someone as capable as yourself would have been able to get the general picture of what had happened on the O'Brien without me needing to tell you. Or was the battle outside the ship and the giant machine currently in our hangar not obvious enough? If Vanessa had picked up on the barb in your query, she wasn't acknowledging it. Captain's orders, huh? For all those are worth. Although you'd initially assumed Vanessa's general aggression was just a personality deficiency, her increasingly open hostility to the ship's command structure was beginning to stand out to you as something more than just unmanaged anger issues. You make a mental note to bring it up with the captain at the next opportunity. Lucky for you, Lieutenant. I'm more than capable enough to pick up your slack. I've already gone through the communication logs, the Juno's flight data. I'm also in the process of reviewing the O'Brien's black box information. I've got to say, Your decision to take the Juno and get out of there on your own was certainly a surprise. You were taken aback that Vanessa had delved that deeply into the recorded communications from the mission already. That was... I had no idea you could be so pragmatic, Or is it that your heroism only comes out when a certain someone is involved? Look, Lord. And another thing. I got to hand it to your quick thinking skills when it came to commanding Ensign Kreese during that battle. Without your decision to get to Cadet Grange involved, things might have turned out very differently for the Gundog. Still, it's a lot easier to just sit back and tell people what to do than to actually do it yourself, right? A lot less pressure on you. You're about to snap back, Vanessa, but your exhaustion wins out against your anger and you swallow your words. Well, Lord, I'm glad that you put your talents to good use and managed to get the assessment done without me. I've got orders to carry out, so if you don't mind, I'll be leaving. Oh, not at all, Lieutenant. I wouldn't want to keep you from your important work. Keep it up. I'm sure your commitment to your duty will be rewarded very soon. Unwilling to put up with Vanessa's consistent contempt for much longer, you mumble a vague goodbye and turn back towards the elevators. Yeah, she's, obviously planning a mutiny. It's just about as obvious that Vanessa is about to start a mutiny as it's obvious that there's no pilot on that craft. And yet neither of these things is something that has occurred to anybody yet, it seems. After we brought the Gundog back online, the whole crew had been reminded about the locations of emergency spacesuits throughout the ship. The attack from that machine was so sudden, though, that there was no chance for anyone to put one on. If its attack had been successful, it probably wouldn't have made much difference to the crew's survival if they'd been wearing one or not. I've had enough views into space from this room to last me a lifetime. The only time I ever want to see this door open is when we're docked. No issues here. This looks like it's in normal working order. Now that I look at it, there's a few loose bullets in the bottom of this locker. And some of the weapons don't look like they're mounted quite right. Maybe they came loose during the battle. I'll get authority from the captain to tidy up this locker later. Although maybe I should bring it to her attention just in case. Everything in here seems okay. Everything looks alright here. Yeah, a couple of clues that something might not be entirely in order. You pass through the stillness of the aft thoroughfare and head into the thrumming depths of the engineering department. As you make your way through, you look around for any sign of the chief, starting with the catwalks and workstations above you, then the machinery that fills the level you're on, and finally finishing your search by scanning the levels below you. Hey, Chief! Chief, you in here? Chief! Taking a deep breath, you cup your hands around your mouth and shout, Chief! You wait for a moment, but with no response forthcoming, you decide that you can be sure the Chief isn't in engineering. Despite the level of noise coming from all the various systems, it wasn't like engineering was that loud. Instead of carrying on your search for Chief Cathays, you turn your attention to the engineering department in general, quickly going through your mental list of checks that make up your patrol's report. As far as you can tell, everything seems to be in order, leaving you without much to dwell on. That thing is, it's probably really important. Let's leave it at that. Life support. They told us that. I'm almost certain that thing's the power distribution module. Distributes power to rechargeable batteries, at least. Thankfully, the computer seems like it's working fine ever since it was reset. Although there's never a good time for your ship's main computer to totally shut everything down, it could have been worse. Probably won't let me go in there. You take a moment to pause outside the door leading into the small room containing the interface with the ship's central computer. Despite looking much like any other door on the ship, made distinct only by the stenciled paintwork stating that what lies within is the ship's mainframe, you can feel the weight of the significance of what lies behind it. It had only been a few hours ago that you desperately hooked up the portable subterminal and used the last of its battery to open the door, allowing you to make your way inside and reactivate the computer, and with it the gun dog. You find a small amount of dark humor in the fact that you'd rather be dealing with those circumstances again rather than what was happening now, despite the stress you'd felt at the time. You really never know what you've got until after it's gone. You run your hand over the cool metal of the door. It's not like I can get in here anyway. Access is restricted to the captain and Cassie. Well, I have her keycard though. Oh wait. You dig around in your pocket and pull out Cassie's keycard. I totally forgot I had this. You turn the card over in your hands a few times, thinking about how, since it wasn't your card and it had access beyond your rank, you should have really handed it in earlier. However, given the circumstances and everything that had gone on today, you had a feeling that it might be worth hanging on to. With what happened with the central computer earlier, it's probably worth checking up on it. You run the card through the card reader to the side of the door, and after a brief delay, the terminal flashes a message, "Access granted," and the door begins to slide open. As the opening door reveals a glimpse into the room, you spot a hint of movement within the cramped interior. Without hesitation, you draw your electroshock weapon and aim it into the room, waiting for the door to fully open to reveal whoever's inside. Hold it! You step into the empty room and look around. The room is so small that you could already see the majority of it through the doorway. There is nowhere that anyone would be able to hide. I think we should have that card for easily the most competent person on board. I don't think Cassie is incompetent normally, though she is kind of incapacitated at the moment. And the doctor does his job alright. The chief is pretty dang competent, and I don't have anything against Dylan. I would agree with you about the rest, though. As you stood alone in the room, the only thing that was moving was your hair, which was being gently blown around by the overhead ventilation. You look upwards. As small as it was in terms of floor space, the room's ceiling was so far above you that you couldn't make it out in the gloom. You only knew that there was a ventilation duct above you due to the constant cool breeze. I must be starting to see things. You sigh to yourself, holstering your weapon and pinching the bridge of your nose with your thumb and forefinger. After a brief moment, you look around the room one more time. Not seeing anything unusual, you shrug and step back into the engineering department. Okay. Well, I've taken a look at everywhere I need to. I guess it's time to report to the captain. Unless there's something I'm forgetting to check out. Let's carry on. We haven't actually been into the engine room yet, so... There might be something I missed. It's not like I'm on a schedule or anything, so I'll check a few more things out. Okay, I need an idle meeting. So, one moment, I need to set up the BRB playlist and figure out how to get to it. Add files, here we go. No, that's not. There we go. Hi, I'm gonna be away for just a few minutes. I'll be back shortly. Enjoy some copyright-free music while I'm out. Alright, I have returned. Oh, was one of the tracks there pretty strange? Yeah, I don't know, that's a big pile of tracks I got from a site called CC Mixter years ago. I don't even know if that site's still around. Also, while I was on break there, I was thinking a little bit about what you said with the competence of the people on board, and I realized I think I was having a bit of girlfriend bias. Cause yeah, Cassie, while interpersonally lovely, she was transferred away from her previous ship because she failed a security drill by being lax with passwords, and she does kind of... yeah, she's not the most security-minded individual, shall we say. Alright, let's go to the engines. The doors to the engine room slide open in front of you, and you're met with the disheartening sight of the huge engine remaining totally stationary, devoid of its normal rotation. The sense of stillness that permeates the vast area you stood in is disconcerting. The only thing breaking the all-engulfing silence is a constant grumble coming from the lone figure of the chief leaning over a control panel in the distance. Chief, everything alright? You call out as you approach her. No, damn it, Lieutenant, it's not. You're a little taken aback by both the chief's curt response, but also that you didn't need to pester her in order to drag her attention away from what she's doing. Yeah, that's the reason we have the keycard, or we know the passwords. We definitely shouldn't, yeah. Oh, no? No! If I didn't know better, I'd call it sabotage. But no one else on the ship has the know-how to do that kind of thing, so right now I look like an idiot who can't get the NPEs back online. Whoa, Chief, hold on. Sabotage? It's not sabotage, Lieutenant. Like I said, no one on this ship would know how to do this kind of thing. But I've ruled out hardware issues and I've never seen the software do a full reset on the startup process before. So unless it's something I'm missing like an idiot, then... Chief, what's going on? Ugh. I had gone through the entire startup process and was just about to fire up the NPEs when that machine crashed into the hangar and I had to go and secure it. The status of everything should have been held at that point until I got back. And it would have been straightforward to just enter a few commands and restart the engines. But... The chief lashes out with her boots, striking the bottom of the casing of the control panel she'd been working on. The whole process has been reset, and all my calibrations and checks have been wiped. I had to start from the very beginning. Maybe there was a pilot, and maybe they're no longer in there, yeah. Without the NPEs online, I can't even get the ship moving, let alone get the HFDD started. Until I can get the HFDD up and running, I'm stuck here instead of being in the hangar figuring out what's going on with that machine. It's killing me. Every second I waste screwing around with the engines is another second we're adrift out in the boonies with God knows what in our hangar. Chief strikes the base of the control panel again before leaning over it and beginning to key in commands. Even the preset functions I've installed have been wiped out. Basically it's shipyard status. This is ridiculous. First I'm gonna have to... Is there anything I can do to help? Ha! No. Oh. Nothing personal, Lieutenant, but no. There's absolutely nothing you can do to help me in this case. Well, thanks for offering. No problem, I guess. Before you're even done responding, the Chief has turned her attention back to the screen full of diagnostics and settings, and has begun keying in commands, pausing to take notice of nearby readouts and then inputting more information. You make a mental note to fill the captain in on the status of the engine startup process, and decide to leave the Chief to it, since there's apparently nothing else for you here. Alright, now I feel like we've completed our circuit. Not sure why it was trying to prompt us to go back to the captain before we'd had a talk with the Chief, but... Wait a minute. That wasn't this way the last time I passed through here. Uh-oh. We do have a saboteur on board, don't we? Maybe Dalton didn't replace this correctly? It must have shaken loose during the battle. But it was definitely attached the last time I was here. You head over to the entrance to the maintenance crawlway and, holding onto the sides, lean into the space, first looking up and then downwards. The ladder extends into the gloom in both directions, and although you can only see up to a certain distance, you can't see anything unusual, and you don't hear anything either. With a shrug, you move to pick up the panel, placing it back onto the wall. It takes a little bit of trial and error, but eventually you get the panel attached again. You give it a few knocks for good measure. That should do for now. Oh, where did... Oh, that's right, the captain went to her quarters. Well, since I wandered back into the hangar, let's quickly talk to Dalton. Hey, Dalton! You shout across the hangar as you shove off the railings towards him, hoping that by giving the cadet as much notice as possible, you won't spook him. Lieutenant, how can I help, ma'am? He sighed inwardly. Although he wasn't alarmed or shocked, you could tell he was more nervous than usual. Nothing to worry about, Cadet. Just part of the patrol, making sure to check in on everyone. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right, Lieutenant. Thank you. Are you sure? It didn't seem possible for Dalton to be more apprehensive, but looking at him now, you could see something eating away at him. Are you sure about that, Cadet? Well, I am... In the span of half a sentence, Dalton goes from a bundle of nervous energy to totally deflated. I don't want to be here anymore. Everything's gone wrong, and it keeps getting worse, and I have to be here alone with that thing, and I'm scared. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Hey, Dalton, it's alright. Taken aback, you tentatively move towards the cadet, raising your arm to lay a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Dalton bats your hand away, simultaneously wiping his eyes with his sleeve, smearing tears across his face. No, I'm fine, ma'am. I was just, sorry. I'm just a little bit stressed out and it's been tough, but I need to fix the... You move forward again, but before you can reach him, he spins, preparing to kick off the Juno towards the crates on the other side of the hangar. Okay, nope, you're right, Unicorn. We're all incompetent. Anchoring yourself with one hand, you reach out with the other, grabbing the back of his jumpsuit a second before you can get away. No, ma'am, I've got to go and do the, gotta... You strain for a moment against the force of his momentum, but your grip holds and you draw him back to you. Ma'am, I just... Dalton, it's all right. Having done nothing to stop himself, the force of you pulling Dalton back leaves him to slowly float into your chest. It's gonna be okay. As Dalton floats limply in silence, you keep your grip on him, but don't say anything, not wanting to push him before he's ready. I'm sorry about that, Lieutenant. I didn't mean to get so worked up. It's just been a really stressful day, and I'm finding it a bit tough. You move your back slightly, giving yourself enough space that you can look Dalton in the eyes. Or you would if he wasn't dejectedly avoiding eye contact. Hey, Cadet. Like I said, it's alright. This job's not easy at the best of times. It's fine to be stressed out. I know, but I really shouldn't be... You release your grip on his jumpsuit, laying the hand on his shoulder instead. Come on now, it's fine. You're right. It's been a really stressful day. We're all feeling the pressure right now, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that. For being honest, I'd be more worried about anyone on this ship who's not feeling the strain. But the chief and the captain... Trust me, Cadet. Everyone is feeling it at the moment. Turning away from you to look at the strange machine amongst the mass of foam at the other side of the hangar, the trainee engineer sighs despondently before looking back to you. But how do you all deal with it? You can't help but smile at Dalton's question.
Well, for one thing, I fuck my girlfriend.
I guess that would help? I don't think that's an option in Dalton's case, though, sorry.
Well, obviously he's not really trying.
Wait a minute, are you encouraging Dalton to hook up with Cassandra?
Why not? We'll make a throuple of it.
I wish I could tell you. Oh. But hey, you move your hand from Dalton's shoulder instead of patting him reassuringly on the arm. You're doing good work. I know it's tough, but just focus on what you've got to focus on. Let us worry about the rest, okay? Thank you, ma'am. I'll do my best. That's all you can do, Cadet. Letting another deep sigh out, Dalton turns back to the engine module he'd been preparing to remove, grabbing onto a handle sticking out of an open maintenance hatch with one hand, and rubbing his still teary eyes with the back of the other. I should really be...
Pleasure to be of service.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's here for. Of course, no problem. I finished checking out everywhere the captain wanted me to. But since I'm here, should I report to the captain? Yeah, I think that's what I needed. I could check out other crew members, maybe see if I can find frickin' Dalton, or try to actually talk to Haru, but I think we're in good shape. Well, I've not found anything that really needs reporting. Excuse me! We found like 8 things that are worth reporting. What are you talking about? Main character! Protagonist! No! Not like this! But there's nothing else I need to do right now, so I should let the captain know I finished my patrol. Yeah, I don't think that we're competent either, Roinicorn. After briskly making your way to the captain's quarters, you find yourself stood outside her familiar insignia-marked door. Right? Yeah, you and I arrived at the same conclusion. You're about to knock to announce yourself, but before you can, you instead move your hand to cover your mouth as you let out a loud yawn. You stop midway through your exhalation, interrupted by a twinge of pain in your neck as you raised your arm. You roll your neck a few times, but this does nothing to shift the discomfort that you're now feeling. It seems like the painkiller the doctor had given you is beginning to wear off. You sigh, which quickly turns into the previously interrupted yawn. The tiredness which you'd been doing your best to ignore since you'd returned to the Gundog was now hitting you hard, and you were suddenly very aware of the physical and emotional toll the past few hours had taken on you. Maybe nobody should have those key cards. The entire crew seems to be a liability. As you feel exhaustion spread through your body, you hope that after you make your report, the captain would command Haru to take over the security detail whilst you get some rest. Being mindful not to aggravate the pain in your neck further, you slowly raise your hand and tentatively knock on the captain's door. Enter. You hear the captain announce from the other side. Ah, Lieutenant Ranya. Have you finished your patrol? You shut your eyes briefly and draw in a deep breath, mustering the energy to engage with the captain. Engage, number 1? Yes, ma'am. And? You release the breath slowly. Conversations with the captain could be exhausting due to how little effort she seemed to put into them, and right now you felt the very real need to conserve your energy. Having visited fire control, the bridge, and the engine room, aside with the existing issues with the long-range communication system, sensors, and NPEs, there's nothing new to report. With the exception of a few minor technical issues that appear to be the result of our battle with that craft, I can't find anything untoward or immediately suspicious. There's no sign of any intruder that I've been able to observe, except for constantly seeing signs of an intruder. Ah! Protagonist, why? I see. So everything's in order. You clench your jaw to stifle a yawn. As you catch a glimpse of the captain's bed in the annex that serves as her bedroom, you find yourself desperately craving your standard issue bunk. On the patrol route, at least, yes. Good to hear. You do your best to stifle another yawn, willing the captain to dismiss you. In that case, Lieutenant, you relax slightly, awaiting the order to finish for the day and pass the torch to someone else. I want you to head to the sickbay and get an update on Ensign Kree's status. You tense up again, the prospect of immediate rest now pulled out from under you. Ensign Kree's, ma'am? Yes, Lieutenant. When I had previously spoken to Dr. Rosarium, he'd advised that the procedure should have been finished some time ago, and Ensign Kree should be ready to resume duties shortly after. I need to brief Ensign Kree on his new responsibilities, but I'm yet to hear anything from the doctor. So, Lieutenant, I need you to head to the sickbay to find out what the delay is. Understood? You'd allowed your weariness to creep over you, but it had been bearable because of the expectation that once you'd reported to the captain, your duties would be done. Now, though, with another task foisted upon you, it felt almost overwhelming. With a Herculean effort that you hide from the captain, you throw a swift salute to acknowledge your new task. Yes, ma'am. Understood. Very good. Dismissed, Lieutenant. You maintain your posture until you've left the captain's quarters, but as the door closes behind you, it's all you can do to not slump to the floor. This must be the last thing she has for me to do today. There's no way. You sigh deeply and pinch the bridge of your nose, taking a moment to wallow in your exhaustion until you feel ready to face this latest challenge. Alright, let's go. You lean back against the rear wall of the elevator and shut your eyes, savoring the brief moment of relaxation that comes from resting on the cool metal of the wall and listening to the gentle hum of the elevator's movement. You stay this way, seconds away from drifting off to sleep, until you feel the elevator begin to slow. So when we struggled with even hurting that mysterious machine, are we sure our guns had actual ammunition loaded? Yeah, at this point I'm not sure. Maybe they were still loaded with training rounds. You lazily bring your hand up to your eyes to shield them from the harsh glare that you know will come from the sickbay's lighting. As your eyes adapt to the light, the first thing that catches your attention is a glitter-like shimmer from the floor at the far side of the room. Once your vision is adjusted completely, you realize that these sparkles are caused by the high-powered lights reflecting off fragments of broken glass that are scattered all over the floor. Doctor! Slumped over his desk is Dr. Rosarium. As you approach him, the dread is replaced with nausea. You see his one organic eye remains open, staring straight downwards but devoid of life. Doctor! Damn it! You quickly draw your electroshock weapon as you look over to the bed with Cassie on it. Cassie! Seeing her lying still, you move swiftly over to check that she's alright, and feel a rush of relief as you see her chest rise and fall. A shiver runs up your spine as you hear the sound of someone stepping on broken glass behind you. You hold your breath, wait for a single second, and then swing around, bringing your gun to bear on where you heard the noise coming from. As you swing your arm around, it's immediately intercepted, stopping its arc before you can aim at where the noise behind you had come from. All you have time to process is a fist flying towards you, striking you square on the chin. There's nothing you can do but stagger backwards. Within a second, you're unconscious. Wake up, Lieutenant. I said wake up, Lieutenant. Know who's talking, so I don't know what voice you have. Ah, it's Vanessa. Asleep on the job. You and your girlfriend are too much alike. Do we have a new captain now? Yeah, we might at this rate. Lord, what's... Finally! I was beginning to think that you decided to copy our Lieutenant Commander and play Sleeping Beauty for the rest of the mission. Cassie, is she... Ugh. In the same moment that you sit up, quickly a lance of pain strikes you in the base of your skull and you wince, gritting your teeth and squeezing your eyes shut. I wouldn't make any sudden movements if I were you. We found you knocked flat out on the floor of the sickbay. Looking at the way you fell, you must have taken a serious blow. A shame. It's not like we've got a doctor to deal with that kind of thing anymore. Moving more slowly this time, you bring yourself upright and maneuver so that you're sitting on the edge of your bunk. You keep your head bowed as you tentatively feel the back of it where you'd hit the floor. Dr. Rosario, he's... dead. You must not have got a good look at him, but someone pulled his plug. Kinda funny you went... Okay, Lieutenant Lord, that's enough. What about Commander Quinn? Is she... What? You don't want to know more about the doctor? Aren't you already planning your investigation? Shouldn't you be asking me if there's any information that might help you find the... You turn to look Vanessa straight in the eyes, your face a stern expression of disapproval. Just tell me how Commander Quinn is doing, Lord. She's unscathed, Lieutenant. As always, she's somehow managed to come out of things absolutely fine. We've moved her to her quarters for the time being, to keep her secure. Good, okay. You rest your elbows on your knees and place your head in your hands, massaging your temples in an effort to reduce the pain that had traveled up your neck and into your forehead. What happened? I went into the sickbay and saw Dr. Rosarium at his desk, went over to Commander Quinn, and then... You remembered spinning around to aim your electroshock weapon at whoever had been behind you, but you hadn't managed to get a good look at them before they'd knocked you out. I got knocked out. What happened after all that? Well, lucky for you, Ensign Kreese was in the surgery wing waking up after his procedure. He saw the silhouette of your fight through the glass and hit an emergency alarm. Although whoever it was managed to escape before Kreese could make his way out of the surgery wing, or anyone else could get there. That makes it twice that he saved you this mission. Maybe we should be promoting him to head of security instead. You roll your eyes at the thought whilst cringing internally. Having Hansen to thank for your survival was becoming an uncomfortably common occurrence. So what's the current situation then? Do we know? As you go to stand up, the same pain from earlier returns, and you sit back down, wincing and rubbing your neck. Unfortunately, Lieutenant, no, we don't know anything. With our head of security taking a nap, and everyone on high alert at their stations, we've not managed to have the chance to investigate. But don't you worry, Lieutenant Ranya. We've had Ensigns Kreese and Rumney taking care of security operations until you recover. The whole ship's on lockdown at the moment. All clearance is restricted periodically to necessary duty areas for each crew member, and access can only be granted from within the room if someone else wants to enter. So the captain's happy for you to take your time to recover. If Captain Bartermuse doesn't want me back on duty immediately, then why are you here? Lieutenant, we're crewmates. Can't I stop by to check in on your recovery? You just said that entry needs to be granted from within the room. Why the fuck are you here, Vanessa? You shoot Vanessa a stern expression, raising your eyebrow but staying silent. Oh, fine, Lieutenant. I wanted you to understand the full stakes of what's happening right now. We're stuck out here with no communication system, our doctor is dead, Our Lieutenant Commander is inconveniently out of action for the foreseeable future. We've got a hostile craft sat in our hangar. And with all this going on, our captain's guidance is just lock things down and carry on. Considering the circumstances, you would think she'd go with a bit more of a proactive approach, wouldn't you say? Lord, what are you getting at? Nothing, Lieutenant. Don't worry about it. For now. I just wanted to make sure you're up to speed on current events, in case you needed to make any decisions, that's all. Anyway, take these and get some sleep. You react with a start as Vanessa throws a small packet of painkillers to you. You catch it and turn it over in your hands. You notice the box is slightly crumpled and pull a small fragment of glass out from where it had been lodged in between the box's tabs. We'll be needing you, Lieutenant, soon. You look up from the packet just as Vanessa turns to leave the room. Without saying anything else, she exits your room and steps into the corridor beyond, with the door hissing shut behind her soon after. Once Vanessa is gone, you take the opportunity to look over the packet again before placing it down next to you on your bunk. You make another attempt to stand up, although you're more cautious about it this time. Despite how gingerly you risen to your feet, the pain in your neck had still reappeared before you were even upright.
The pain in your neck is back. What, has Vanessa turned around to come back through the door?
With a sigh of defeat, you open the box Vanessa had given you and extract 2 tablets from their packaging, quickly tossing them into your mouth and swallowing. How much more do we need to report a suspicion of mutiny, right? Like, I'm guessing that what Vanessa has said thus far has been carefully determined to be plausibly deniable, but, like, if I were a security officer on board a ship like this, I would sure be worried by now. I would at least want to sit down with the captain and have a conversation about it. You slowly lie back down on the bunk, resting your head on your pillow. As you lie there, you go over what Vanessa had told you. Dr. Rosarium was dead, but Cassandra was fine. Whoever had been responsible hadn't been apprehended, and the whole ship was on high alert. You begin to think over who the assailant could be. You couldn't think of a motivation for a single crew member to attack the doctor. Although, now that you think about it, the disarray in the sickbay was very similar to what you saw in the O'Brien. Was what happened there happening here? Plus, what was Vanessa talking about making decisions for? Yeah, we definitely are not very good at our job. Your mind slows as the medication kicks in and your thoughts lazily drift from one subject to another. Although you do your best to keep thinking about the dramatic shift in circumstances, you feel yourself beginning to slip out of consciousness and back into the exhausted slumber that Vanessa had interrupted. The last thing you remember before drifting off to sleep is that as soon as you were awake, you knew the first thing you'd be doing was visiting Cassandra. April 24th, Planetary Calendar 214. After recovering from the attack, Lieutenant Ranya awakens in their quarters a full 24 hours later to find that they are yet to receive any instructions. Once again, we're being referred to with they. With no pending orders, they decide to check in with Lieutenant Commander Quinn to see if they have recovered from their affliction. Well, then again, they're referring to Cassandra as they, them, too, so weird. Javian Space. Lieutenant Ranya's quarters. The Javian patrol ship, JFS Gundog. Alright, I just got word from the wifey that she is on her way home. And we did just hit a chapter breakpoint, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw downstream here. Maybe a little bit shorter than I usually run, but that's not all always a bad thing. I am kind of liking doing these streams on Thursdays, so I will, as always, attempt to squeeze in some additional stream time other times and opportunities when they come up, like potentially Saturday morning US, which would be midday or afternoon in Roynicorn Land, you know. I don't know how much more of this game we have. I'm guessing probably a couple more streams, but who knows? I think we are more than halfway at least. Thursdays are fun even when it's Friday for you, right? Yeah, I'll keep it up as best I can. Until next time though, my friends, live with honor, and your heart is unassailable.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. Explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. It's a new adventure. On a new adventure. You'll find me dancing on my own. Nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm I don't think of you. Don't call me up when you're feeling blue. You'll find me dancing on my own. Nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm I don't think of you. Let me go. It's a new adventure. It's a new adventure. I will surrender. On a new adventure, I will surrender. Let me go on a new adventure.